All good.
And we're over here at the Tico Warbird Airshow, March 15th, 2014.
Yeah, you got questions? Darren and Glenn have answers. Pick up the phone and give them a call. Tell them Soldier I sent you. 321-631-1300.
Welcome to an extra special edition of American Warrior Radio, the place to be for news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard or Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com, sponsored by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee and a pencil and paper to jot down a note or two, because we're always efforting to bring you important information that you can use and share with others. And you know, while you're at it, why don't you grab your car keys and head out to the Tico Warbird Airshow, because that's where Garen, Glenn, and our special guests are going to be coming to you live for the next 2 hours. Glenn, this is an extra special broadcast.
Extra long, extra special. This is going to be great, folks. Come on out here.
And I just skipped. I'm so excited I skipped over my introduction. Y'all know me. I'm Garen Cohn. I'm an Air Force veteran. I was in back in the 80s, and I went on to become a legal advocate for veterans, of which I retired from up at the Board of Veterans Appeals, and then I started AVET Project. But you also know, regular listeners, that I never fly through the airwaves alone.
Good morning. I'm still Glenn McGuffey, and I'm retired Air Force and also retired manager of the Veteran Services team for Brevard County, and retired from Social Security. And if I could find anything else to retire from that would pay me money, I'd do that too.
Triple dipping, baby.
But we got a wonderful, great show for you today. Just like Garen was telling you just a minute ago, we got an extra special guest for you for our extra special show. We're going to have more than one guest today. We're the long, special 2-hour show today. And we're all Air Force here in the studio, so to speak, in our tent here.
Hey, we got a fine booth set up here, right next to the AVET Project booth. We're just, let me see, north, to get my orientation right here, of the Ready Line at the Tico Warbirds Air Show. Glenn, this is the 37th year.
Wow.
It is amazing, and that WMEL has been supporting and helping promote this program for 20 plus years. We're just very happy to be a part of it, and I want to get some quick thank yous out to our production staff, John O'Hara, Jeff here, who's helping with production, and of course Vince Young back on the board, back in the studio. Hello, Vince. Anyway, folks, like I said, this is going to be something incredible. You don't want to miss this. They've been doing it for 37 years, but it just keeps getting better and better. If you haven't heard about it, you're hearing about it now. And what's the cost, Glenn, for somebody to come up here and enjoy all that they have to offer?
The cost for the air show itself to get in is $15, but for our favorite word, parking is free.
We like that word. Parking is free. How often do you get to go to an event of this stature and get to park for free? Heck, over in Orlando, you go to a ball game, you're going to pay 25 bucks for parking. So
yeah, I go to a ball game. It seems like I pay more to park than I do to go to the ball game.
And it's not enough just to come out here and park. You need to come in because, and we'll be discussing, I'll be doing some roving reports throughout the broadcast. Like I said, this is an extra special one. We've got 2 hours today.
That's right.
You know how quickly an hour flies by, all of you that regularly listen. Well, we're going to stretch it out, and we do. We've got some incredible interviews coming up. But I just had to mention that with an event like this, so much goes into making it happen. And I want to get some special thanks and congratulations out to the Valiant Air Command, who hosted a lot of us media types on Thursday. It was kind of cold and windy, and they were wondering what the air show weather was going to be like, but oh my gosh, Glenn, how would you describe it now?
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. This is Florida. This is why I moved here. 2 days ago, I wasn't sure I had moved to the right place, but it cleared back out like it does this time of year, and it is absolutely beautiful out here. It's going to be a wonderful day for flying when they start the flying somewhere around noon approximately. 1 o'clock approximately.
Yeah, well, we'll see planes hitting firing up over on the ready line, which is directly in front of us. When you come out and you go to gate 2 and you park, there's courtesy shuttles that will get you in here if your mobility's a little bit off or challenged today. They'll bring you right into the main area. Like I said, there's just so much to see. But we're right north of the ready line, so we'll be able to broadcast and tell you what planes are getting ready, what's going on over there. It's a phenomenal position, but I wanted to get some special thanks out because none of this would be possible without the true red, white, and blue support of the Valiant Air Command. And in particular, I got to mention a couple guys. There's so many folks involved with this. They're all volunteers. It's a 501c3, just like AVET Project. And the board of directors and the staff have just been phenomenal. But special hats off and salute to the public relations officer, Ron Davis. He's just a wonderful man. You've got to come out here and meet him. He's bebopping around. They've assembled some wonderful folks over at the VIP tent, including, I think, about 9 different Tuskegee Airmen.
Wow, and don't we, later on we're going to run down a Pearl Harbor survivor?
That's right, Earl Chaffee. Oh, gunshots. Yeah, there's static displays.
Incoming.
That's right. Everything's going on out here. We've got all kinds of reenactments going on. I want to also say thank you to the operations officer, Bob Boswell. And like I said, the entire staff has just been so kind and generous with their time and helping us set up. And I want to also say thank you to all the AVET Project volunteers that are out here assisting the 920th Rescue Wing. That's right out of Patrick, folks. There's some 1,200 folks, and our next guest will actually know that number, I'm sure. But it's a big squadron, and it's a rescue squadron. That's their mission. They're out here taking tickets at the gate. So as you come through the gate, just keep that in mind. You're more than likely, well, you're either talking to an AVET Project volunteer, somebody that is either military service or loves the military, or you're talking and taking a ticket from the 920th folks. Wow. Yeah, and
thank you to all those volunteers, because that's what makes it work and allows AVET to do the tremendous work they do supporting our veteran population, both active duty and those who have served and are now off active duty, either retired or just in a veteran status.
Exactly. Honestly, you know, you can go to avetproject.org, click on the tab that says mission, and read what our mission statement is. We're all over the place, but it's all centered on one thing. That's the past and present military members and their families. And I know we paint it with a broad brush and we do it on a shoestring, but what we do is amazing, and it's all volunteer based. Nobody's making a paycheck. So I'll get a plug in for AVET Project right now. If you got a couple bucks in your pocket out at the air show, you be sure and stop by our booth. You can't miss it. We're parked next to, I think, the only A6 that I've seen out here, Glenn. We're right next to it, right across from it.
Yeah, wings are folded up and the nose is up, so I don't think it's going to take off anytime soon.
The wings are folded, so that's got to have a tail hook, because that's got to be a Navy bird then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you find the A6 with the wings folded on, I think, taxiway C, if I had my map here handy. I think it's taxiway C. Yeah, I'm right, taxiway C, static aircraft. The flight line is taxiway F. You're going to be walking past that. But you find your way over to taxiway C and you'll find the AVET Project box truck, WMEL booth, and of course AVET Project. Drop a couple bucks in the box. We're always needing money to operate the programs and services that we put on to help our troops. And we've got all kinds of information from other supporters of ours. And you know, surprisingly, as we talk about often on American Warrior Radio, a lot of it's free.
Oh, absolutely. And let me throw in here, in my 22 plus years experience as the manager of the County Veteran Services team, we of course ran across many scam organizations. You may have heard of many scam organizations. AVET is not a scam organization. They're the real deal. They're not one of those organizations you read about that are supposedly helping vets, and the guy that's the head of it's making $500,000 a year off of the donations they're getting. They're the real deal. So if you can make a donation or volunteer some time or both to AVET, please do it. And come on out to the air show. Stop by our...
Say hello to me and Glenn.
Yeah, say hello to us and come by our outdoor studio here. And I want to add one thing, because it makes me flash back a little bit. You may hear some helicopter noise in the background, and it was like a
little Star Wars
reminds me of a sunny day in Benoit, Vietnam. So,
well, it is a sunny day, that's for sure, and there's going to be lots of aircraft flying over. But don't let that hinder you. If you want to listen to us live, we got some chairs set up out here on the tarmac. Come on over. We're more than interested to have you come over. And like I said, we got lots of information, maybe even some buttons and some Red Shirt Friday. Folks, Friday was yesterday, and we do a good job with that, but I want to throw out there, red, what does it mean? Remember everyone deployed. We still have over 30,000 of our forces, our brave men and women, over in Afghanistan, and thousands and tens of thousands more in imminent danger areas around the globe.
Exactly.
And until they're all back home safely with their families, protecting this country on our terra firma, we want to make sure that we get some support out there. So on Fridays, wear your red shirt, and I'll have more about that later, but we have some Red Shirt Friday shirts available for you to purchase for very little money too. With that said, folks, I know you've all been waiting to hear from our special guest. I'm excited to talk with him. So you know what? Let's launch right into a 920th Rescue Wing runway report.
Yeah, and go ahead. I want to introduce you to Senior. Okay, we got a special guest for you on
Fire it up.
Special program here while I was trying to overcome the music.
He doesn't have headphones on him right now, so he couldn't hear that, but let's fire it up.
We have Senior Master Sergeant Craig Kenedy from the 920th Rescue Wing, and it's great to have him here. And Craig, give us a little of your background, and then might get into an unfortunate incident that happened to you years ago.
Well, thank you, Garen and Glenn. I appreciate being here, having an opportunity to get the info out. Once again, my name is Senior Master Sergeant Craig Kenedy, and I've been...
Senior Master Sergeant, let me interrupt there. That indicates you put a few years in for our country. You're still active? I'm
still with the 920th Rescue Wing, and have about 36 years now.
Wow.
36 years. That's a career for sure, sir.
So, yeah.
We're really proud to have you visit us on the set here today.
Well, thank you.
And you got your Combat Rescue polo shirt on, too. That's pretty nifty.
I needed the credentials to get in free. So yeah, and so I spent the majority of my career in rescue, and the majority of that part of the career was in pararescue. And
what is that? Tell our audience. I mean, we've had other guests, but just give us a thumbnail sketch of what a pararescue man might do.
Pararescueman actually acts as a extension of the aircraft. The whole combat rescue package consists of C-130s, H-60 helicopters, and when you actually go out and rescue somebody, usually a downed pilot or somebody in need, oftentimes those patients are non-ambulatory. So it takes somebody with medical knowledge and combat skills to go out and get them. So that's where the pararescuemen come in. They actually deploy the aircraft, whether it's jumping from a C-130 or, helo landing, whatever it takes.
Which I take it you've done both.
I've done both, and...
you prefer one over the other?
The helo landing is a little gentler, but, you got to do what you got to do.
Sure. So you've been doing that, and even now, you're still attached to the pararescue squadron.
I'm attached to the 920th Rescue Wing. I'm on the command staff there. We've broken off into separate squadrons. We have our C-130 squadron, the 39th Rescue Wing, our helicopters, which is the 301st Rescue Squadron, and then the pararescuemen are the Guardian Angel package, which is the 308th Rescue Squadron.
308! We got some of those guys out there. That back there was a Major Marcus Smith. We'll let that pass. He's out here with his crew taking tickets, and like I mentioned, Craig, it had to mean something to you to see some of your brothers and sisters out here working the air show. Yeah,
it was very excellent. It just anytime we see the guys getting involved in the community and helping out, it's a big plus for the wing itself.
Well, we're going to be coming up on the bottom of the hour break here in a minute, but and hopefully we can carry you over if we go up to that point, because I know you've got a special program coming up here soon. Tell us a little bit about that. What happened? And this happened a long time ago, and you're basically planning and going to implement a memorial for it soon.
Yeah, we're calling it the Jolly 1-8 Memorial. It was about 30 years ago, come April 7th, and what happened was CH-3 crashed about 60 miles off the coast. It had a crew of 8 on it. Three of the guys got out, but 5 of them did not. So,
Sarge, is that a pretty big helicopter? You say crew of 8. Decent sized?
It is a decent sized helicopter.
Okay.
It's probably the second largest helicopter in the inventory. No longer in the inventory, but back then.
Because we're talking back in 1984, April of '84.
Yeah. these were all Vietnam era helicopters, so they were old back then.
Yeah, because I'm old, so I know that.
Yeah. We're all old, Glenn.
Yeah, we're all getting older. So, and we had some loss of life there, but what was the specific mission they were out there to cover?
Well, that evening, it was focused on a Trident missile launch off a submarine, and characteristically what we would do would go out and in the helicopters clear the area, so no boats were in harm's way.
And that still goes on today. Whenever we have launches, you guys have some responsibility to go and clear the zone in case something does happen catastrophic
it's
with the missile.
called clearing the box. Clearing the box. And so what that is so many different miles on each side of the launch azimuth. So they just make sure that in case they have to blow the missile or whatever happens, they make sure that area is clear. No boaters are down there or people on the beach or anything like that. You guys just help to clear that out. Exactly. Okay, so that's the mission that they went out. That was the main mission. But was that like for the public to enjoy, or was there some secrecy attached to the launch? It was a very classified mission. In fact, it was a collateral mission that evening that was a classified counter-surveillance mission. And what happened was... Can we talk about it now, some 30 years later? You know what, actually, I thought 30 years ago, no problem, but I just ran it by our operations security guy, and he said, oh, no, you can't talk about that. Okay, well, we don't want to put you in jail, so... That's right, I'm getting to retire anyway, so... Let's speak freely. No, but we'll hold off until they that was part of the problem that evening. Everybody, it was a calm out, communications out scenario. And so when our helicopter actually did go down, nobody knew it because they thought it was part of the scenario. So actually, the guys were in the water for quite a while before pickup came. Well, that makes a little more sense then, because of the reason for the mission being classified and so on and so forth. Nobody knew that they were missing. Right, for a very long time. And what I think this memorial will do is attempt to bring closure to the friends and families of these people, of these 5 guys that were, heroes. They were heroes of the Cold War. And, we may not have been fighting, but the Cold War was alive and well back then. And that's when I was in the service. And Glenn, you were still. I was on active duty then. Yeah. It was alive and well. Yeah, and people, for all you young guns out there that don't know what the Cold War is, that's the war between the wars where the war was still going on. We were still building up and making sure that the Russians didn't want to, what would you say the term was? Mutually assured destruction, so we grew bigger than them so they wouldn't shoot us? Well, yeah, that was the term for nuclear destruction, and of course there was a lot of troops in Europe at that time, because the scenario... Flexing our strength to let them know? Yeah, that was most common thought of then was that the Russians would en masse come in from Eastern Europe into the west part of Europe, which we know now as, Germany and Finland and all those countries that you think of in that area. Were you over in Germany at that time? Thereabouts, mid-80s? I was in Germany, and we used to tear up our weekends on a regular basis doing practice exercises that getting ready in case we did have a combat scenario take place, because things got on occasion a lot tenser and hotter than probably the general public knows, because the press doesn't always, nor did we want the press always to know all the things that might have transpired. Big exercises like Reforger and what have you? Yeah, Reforger, big exercise. The Army ran around the whole German countryside, it seemed like, making sure their equipment worked, particularly tanks and heavy trucks and so forth. And the Air Force participated, bringing F-4 aircraft from the States and transport aircraft. And I would think the rescue people probably participated in that too, because they did a lot of flying. I remember saying back there, no disrespect to our Air Force pilots, I love every one of them, but some of them would come over there and they said, well, we got an all-weather aircraft, but we don't have any all-weather pilots. They were used to flying in that wintertime environment in Germany, but that was just kind of a joke over there to say the weather's really bad today. Well, folks, we have Senior Master Sergeant Craig Kenedy, still on active duty, is associated with pararescue jumpers basically his entire career.
we're reflecting back on this. Before we get to the particulars, because we're going to come to the break, hopefully you will stay around. We can finish up this segment with the runway report later. Give us a thumbnail sketch of places you've done duty.
Actually, I've been very fortunate. I came here to Patrick as a pararescueman back in 1983, and I did 4 years active duty, and then I made the jump to the reserve unit down at Homestead. And as we all know, Homestead was wiped out by Hurricane Andrew, so then they moved us, the whole unit, back up to Patrick. So I've spent actually the majority of my career in Florida with trips to Afghanistan, Kuwait, Iraq, you know, strewn in between.
Well,
Okay.
that's wonderful, except for the side trips, of course. But wow, staying in Patrick area all those many years of your career is, boy, that'd be a dream for me.
It has been a dream.
In 22 years, I went to 9 different PCSs, permanent change of station. But
And when we come back on American Warrior Radio, we'll touch base and see if the good Senior Master Sergeant had any association with helping tidy up down there after Hurricane Andrew. But I just want everybody to know we've got Senior Master Sergeant Craig Kenedy here. He's going to describe a special memorial just after the break, so hang in there, folks. And I'm looking at an edition of the Missileer, which is Patrick Air Force Base's newspaper, from Friday, April 20th, 1984. So we're going back in time, and this is a man that's dedicated to keeping these memories of these fallen airmen alive, and he's got a special program that he's put together. And even if you don't have access to the base, there's probably a way that you can be, but we're going to talk about it after the break, so don't go anywhere. This is American Warrior Radio live on AM 1300 WMEL. We'll be back in just a moment. Honestly, don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. Be right back. So we'll come back. Hurricane Andrew, did you help? Because we've got a mutual friend that was down there, and he was working in supply after he was there during it. Okay. How much time before, how much